2022. I'm Aparna G. Kumar, the Global Co-Chairperson of GCPIT and your host for the show. Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade is an organization based in India, South Africa, US, UK, and UAE with board and council member representation across the world. We at GCPIT believe in fostering leadership across different levels. Recently, we have been reflecting on the significance of perspective in our role as leaders. When we advance from being an individual contributor to a leader, our perspective starts changing. We gain access to new information, have conversations with new people, and think about things in ways we didn't have to before. These changes or learnings have immense power, and we believe that this interview series will help us and many aspiring future leaders to gain new perspectives, especially global perspectives from these emerging leaders. Today, we have with us such a leader to tell us about his perspectives on leadership while leading his venture. We have with us Dr. Amit Kailash Chandra Lat, who is a leading Indian face and businessman residing in Poland for the last 23 years. He is an ambitious person and seasoned entrepreneur who grew from scratch and established a business with commercial footprint across the world. His company, Sharda Group, has achieved success in the European and global markets and received several accolades and has been ranked #1 in the textile sector by the Poland Ministry of Economy. Sharda Group was listed in the top 500 of Forbes Diamond 2012 and is ranked among the top 10 companies for trade between India and Poland. Dr. Amit has actively led several initiatives to support the Indian diaspora living in Poland and the neighboring countries. During the peak of the COVID pandemic, he shipped oxygen concentrators to India and supported a plethora of NGOs and institutions in India during the lockdown by providing relief and by organizing finance, donations, and vital supplies. He passionately and diligently worked hand in hand with the Indian Embassy in Poland and the Government of India on Operation Ganga to evacuate Indian students and citizens from Ukraine. Dr. Amit Lat was privileged to be part of the Indian contingent to virtually meet the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, during his review of the support being provided to the Indians coming from Ukraine. A well-known face within the Indian community and the bureaucracy in Poland, Dr. Amit is widely respected for his connection with the business fraternity in India, Europe, and United Kingdom, Middle East, Africa, and the Asian countries. He is also admired for his outstanding hospitality to Indians coming to Poland and highly respected for building business relationship between the two countries in the capacity of Vice President, Indo-Polish Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Congratulations, Dr. Amit, for being nominated for the Emerging Leaders Awards. We are proud to have you with us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Very good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everyone out there. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be.
Thank you so much for taking your time and joining us today. And before we begin, a very big thank you for all the amazing work you did for the Indian community during the COVID crisis and also during Operation Ganga. As I mentioned, I got goosebumps when I saw you guys speaking to a channel immediately after the interaction with Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. We could see real leadership being exhibited at ground zero. But before we begin talking about leadership, though I read your profile, I would like to hear from you. How did all this begin and what are you currently doing?
So, when we talk about back in 1998, when Poland was, of course, in the global map, but for India and Indians, when we used to say Poland, people used to say Holland. Where in Holland do you live actually? And if we explained to them it's Poland, oh, you mean Russia? Yeah, it was, the first thing which comes to their mind was USSR. It's a part of USSR, or it's a part of Russia. So it took a while actually to explain to people where Poland is. But then as we see the progress of the country, Poland joined in 2004, the European Union, 2007, Schengen, and now it is among top 5 leading economies in the European Union, and Poland plays a very important role. And thanks to, I would say, the business opportunities out here, we as Indian group, we see a substantial growth and opportunities of business into this particular market.
What exactly are you currently doing? I know you are holding a lot of posts.
Right. So we as a group, we are a leading textile group. So anything and everything which is related to textiles specifically. So let me give you a few good examples. So we are typical raw material suppliers to the European industry, and across Europe, we almost service 1,000+ companies, manufacturing companies. India is a large cotton grower, And our main motto and target is actually to make Indian cotton reach to the subcontinent in Europe and ensure that, the best of the products are manufactured from our raw materials. So primarily every fourth mattress, which is manufactured in Europe, is supplied by our company in terms of the raw materials for manufacturing mattresses. When we talk about upholstery, which is used in the Polish railways or in the Polish public transport, this is also fortunately made from the Indian raw material. And when we see a lot of hospitals in Poland, close to 3,000 hospitals, a lot of bandages which have been manufactured by companies like TZMO, Hartmann, and so on and so forth, or it's a supplies which have been done by us seamlessly for last 20 years plus. So these are certain products what we do in terms of raw materials. In 2009, our company acquired a home textile brand called Uniontex. Uniontex used to be a composite unit. There were almost 40,000 people who were working. Um, as we know, the dynamics in the global scenario and business change in 2009 because of the global slowdown and the turmoil which we all faced. We were very fortunate enough to acquire this particular brand, Polish brand, which was of 1827, and get the best out of it in terms of getting products into large supermarkets, hypermarkets, and chain stores out here. And
I think that's an amazing, yeah.
And when we talk about, as a group, so we were, of course, doing a large distribution to European retailers, to manufacturers. And then, of course, as time progressed, 2012, we thought, why not we acquire a logistic group, which would help us to service our own business. Plus, we could also service others in the market. So companies like Bata, Talibel, Philip Morris, we did quite a good logistics for them, and we gave them logistic solutions into the market.
That's an amazing journey you just shared. It's really nice to see the growth of an Indian outside India. And if you had to pick 4 or 5 words or short phrases to describe how a successful leader in a global environment operates or behaves, what would they be?
I personally feel leaders are the ones who always find way out during whether it is good times or difficult times. We need to be innovative. We need to think ahead of how the business can be done. That's one. Second, need to motivate your team throughout the journey and appreciate them of what has been done and what can be done actually. And not only this, besides that, a true leader is, who keeps values in mind before we take or make any decisions. So it should be a combined decision of your team who is a part of the success story besides any business, which is there. And I could see that clearly in our group also. We have people who are working with us in Poland for last 21, 22 years, right from the day of the inception of company, I would rather put it this way. So there is something which we are doing right, I probably feel. And that could be the simple reason, they are with us and we are with them.
And humility is another quality of a great leader. I totally agree with you. And how I can see how humble you are. That's what I meant. How would you describe the differences in the organization and culture between a global environment and a more local or regional environment?
When we talk about, Poland as such, see, Poles are quite, a family-oriented community, very similar to Indians, and their family bondings and their values are quite same. When we talk about work culture, of course, to adapt to certain cultures, certain changes, and thought process of how India and Indians work, it's quite easy for them to understand that in certain aspects. What we do is normally, if any team member who joins us, I think it's a must and obligatory for them to have a couple of visits to India. Of course, besides pandemic, it was easier for them to travel and to understand how the entire process and the company and the organization works. And this easily helps them to adapt to a particular system and vice versa. I feel that my colleagues in India also are adapting to a certain system of the work culture, what our friends in Europe have their way of working actually.
That's really interesting to know the culture of India and following the almost similar in the family values, I mean. And how is your, you just shared the journey of your company. So how is your company's purpose evolving?
Uh, as when we say we are a group from India, people typically think that, oh, another Asian company probably who has come to our market to destroy things out here, getting ready products. So when we tell them what we're doing actually, so what we do is we do innovations with our clients. We do a lot of R&D. We do uh, get information and share information with our clients of what is happening around the world. It's very difficult for every individual to travel to various parts of the world, but with the know-how and with the kind of exposure we have, with the global exposure, we ensure that we grow with our clients and our clients grow with us. So I can give you a couple of good examples where small medium-sized companies grew into large organizations, and they were thankful to us for giving them a know-how of really what is happening in other parts of the world. And if you don't think what is, let me just give you a very simple example. Technical textile is the future actually, where if you don't expand in that particular field, it would be rather difficult to sustain, because of course there are manufacturing hubs in the world where the labor force and the cost of production is much cheaper. So Europe would not be able to survive. But when we think of innovations and when we think of new product developments, we do it jointly with our clients, and then we ensure that the raw material supply is seamless and is given to them on time.
And you are in the market for so long. So what do you think? How should companies approach digitalization?
Digitization is one of the key factors today, and especially when we talk about today's time, absolutely it's a must. Of course, it all depends on what kind of product, what kind of strategy the company has got, whether the growth and the scope of work which allows them actually to get into this particular space. But it is a must, for today and for future.
Right. That's why, that's how we could connect, and we are talking now because of technology.
Absolutely.
And what was the most challenging difference in leadership or culture that you had to understand and overcome in a globalized economy?
Uh, when we talk about culture and systems in Central East Europe, uh, commitment, ethics have got great values out here. And once companies like us, when we are new in the market, for them, India is a country which is at quite a distance. So for them to understand whether and trust certain aspects of and values of companies, it takes a while. But when we win hearts over performance, and by doing right performance, it definitely helps, for having a constant and a continuous business growth.
Right. And what different perspectives do you bring to the business as a leader?
I learn every day actually from my team, and I only give my opinion, what I feel could be right or can be, or my way of doing things. And if my team and my colleagues, my fellow colleagues, feel that this could be valuable for the company, then we adapt those systems. Otherwise, of course, we follow what has to be followed, and what is required. Maybe we could be wrong, at times.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's listening to everybody's voice is bringing everybody's opinions to the table is something what leaders do. And what advice would you give to someone who has taken a senior leadership role to be more impactful in the role they have taken up?
I think it's quite a responsibility when you go into the senior leadership role. And I feel that if the person has reached to that level, it is something which their achievements over the years have got them to. So that person must be quite matured enough, great exposure, and they're more humble and they're more consistent in terms of doing certain things.
Are there any training or resources such as coaching to help you be better as a leader, or is it just a lot of practice?
I personally feel the right coaching is, a regular interaction with your clients, because when you listen to them, when you hear what is really happening, whether it could be a client cribbing or giving a negative feedback, to certain times explaining to us the challenges they face, this could really give you a good message and a good information of where and how we can improve together to make this worthwhile. If somebody is giving his a few minutes of his time to explain to me the things, I assume it is valuable for them, and our presence is important for them. Otherwise, they won't waste time with us.
But is it available to the this opportunity available to the broader leadership team within the ecosystem, or how do they develop themselves?
I assume that many of these leaders they have various ways of actually getting such information. One is when you have industry meets, you listen to others what is really happening. Second is you adapt to what you feel could be right and could be done in a righter way and in a nicer way. And that's where today the way to grow and to progress is.
And what have you learned from leading in the crisis? We all have gone through the problems of a pandemic, and all the businesses were suffering, right? So what have you learned during this crisis?
I think every crisis gets us some new opportunities in life, and a downfall would definitely give you a shake that hello, it's not always the skies are not always blue. There could be a darker moment, but be tough in terms of what you're doing. Be focused to what we are doing, and always contingency plans. Certain times you have in mind, but there are certain force majeure clauses or situations like this. What we've been seeing last 2-3 years specifically.
And how do you promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace as a leader?
See, diversity is unity, I feel, and it's extremely important uh, to be united. Of course, everyone has their different opinions, but to reach out to a right conclusion by right debates and discussions definitely helps us.
And before closing, what would you like to advise entrepreneurs who are dreaming to be successful in the global market?
I personally feel, my message to people who are listening to this conversation would be Central East Europe is the future market. And many of them, they personally feel that, and companies mainly focusing on mainland Europe. But it's high time that, we look into these markets. And especially when Ukraine is going to build in a larger way, Poland is going to play a very important role. And if any which way we can support them, as Indo-Polish Chamber of Commerce or Europe-India Chamber of Commerce, we would be happily doing so.
Thank you so much for this encouraging words, Dr. Amrit, and thank you so much for joining us today and enlightening us with your thoughts and experiences. And that was an amazing journey that you just shared. And leaders, as you mentioned, leaders are the ones who always find a way out, and always crisis uses an opportunity to grow. And what I loved is we grow with our clients and our clients grow with you. That's, I think, an amazing thought to follow for all entrepreneurs. And we hope this would be helpful to many aspiring future leaders to gain new perspectives and climb the success ladder. Looking forward to associating with you in the future as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely a pleasure. I wish everyone great success.
Thank you so much. And as you know, we are on a huge mission, a mission to impact the lives of 100 million entrepreneurs. We would like to invite you to join us, and I know that you're part of the team, and I also invite you to be part of this game-changing mission, Impact Mission 2030. Our aim is to build a global community of great leaders from 190 plus countries by 2030. And people like you, that's why we come and talk to people like you. We get a lot of encouragement and support. And our listeners, if you're interested in this mission, you can mail us at contact@gcpat.us or find us on all social media as GCPAT Global. And join us as we come back with another emerging leader to inspire us and share us their perspective. Till then, this is Aparna Kumar signing off. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a great day. And thank you so much once again, Dr. Ahmed, for joining us today.
Absolutely a pleasure. Privilege is all mine. Thank you. Have a great day.